Hey guys, this is Miss Britt here. I am going to read this website to you. So the topic is the Wright brothers, and you guys are going to be writing about the Wright brothers. We chose them because one of the stories that you are reading in reading class is about the Wright brothers, and it was the only biography that came in our writing kit. So we chose these two brothers for you guys to do a short nonfiction writing piece on. So you're working on nonfiction reading class, and we wanted to make sure that we were working on nonfiction in writing class as well. So the website is called Kiddle, and the title of this section is Wright Brothers Facts for Kids. So this is the title of this part, and let's get started. The Wright brothers, Orville Wright, and this is his this information that's in parentheses. This is his birth and death dates. So when he was born and when he died. So anytime you see someone's name and then you have a date and then a little dash and another date, then that is when he was born, and then the other date is when he passed away. So the Wright brothers, Orville Wright, born August 19th, 1871, died January 30th, 1948, and Wilbur Wright, born August 16th, 1867, and died on May 30th, 1912. They designed, built, and flew the first controlled, powered, heavier than air airplane on December 17th, 1903. So, let me break this down for you. The first controlled, meaning someone was controlling it, they could tell it where to go. Powered, meaning it had an engine or had something in it providing power for it. And then heavier than air means that it was not light, means that it was a heavier machine and would have fallen if just thrown up in the air without that control and that power. They had been experimenting for many years with gliders and other vehicles before their first powered flight. They are also known for making the first way to steer an airplane. They designed the aircraft in Dayton, Ohio, and their first test flight was in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Another reason why we are talking about the Wright brothers is because it is part of North Carolina history, which goes along with social studies. So over here on the right, this is a text feature. This text feature is a photograph. Above it, it tells you who it is. This is Orville Wright. And it also tells you the year underneath it. So these are two captions that are going to give you more information about it. And then you have the born on and the died. And then this place is Dayton, Ohio. So it lets you know that he was born in Dayton, Ohio, and he passed away in Dayton, Ohio. Over here, you have a small kind of like table of contents. This is not an actual book or an actual text. So what happens whenever you click on these is it takes you to that spot in the on the website. So if I click it, it jumps to that spot. Over here, here's a photograph of Wilbur Wright, also taken in 1903, with his birth and death places and dates. So he was actually born in Millville, Indiana, but he also, just like his brother, died in Dayton, Ohio. Before building airplanes, the Wrights grew up in Dayton, Ohio. They were sons of a minister, which means someone who, like a preacher. They were sons of a minister. There were many books in their house, and they were encouraged to ask questions and find out about whatever they thought was interesting. Sometimes their father would ask them to argue for a topic, then switch sides and argue for the opposite point of view. That's just like what we were doing, which was debates and opinions. Like, you have one side and that's your opinion, and then someone else has another opinion. They went to high school but did not go to college. They started a newspaper instead. After that, they started a shop to build and repair bicycles, which I know is information that you have learned through the story that you're going to read with Miss Todd. And if you haven't read that story yet, you will get there. Learning how to fly. By the 1990s, the Wrights were interested in flight, especially the gliders of Otto Lilienthal. If you click that hyperlink, then it will take you to who Otto Lilienthal is. Lilienthal? Maybe. And then you can learn a little bit about him if you would like to. But remember, you need to keep your information focused on the Wright brothers. They started on making airplanes in their bicycle shop. They thought controlling a plane was one of the big problems of flight. Lilienthal and others had been killed when they could not control their aircraft. The Wright brothers fixed the problem by inventing control surfaces such as a rudder that would work in the air. They built wings that could be twisted a little and moved up and down slightly to control flight. So again, click on a rudder. And we're talking about things like this that help propel the air, or in this case, this was a water one. And then back here, see this little rudder moving back here? When it moves one side, it pushes you the other way. It's kind of like a dog's tail. A dog's tail, when they're swimming, if you have a dog, if you pay attention, when the dog goes swimming, they use their tail to help steer them. They built wings that could be twisted a little and moved up and down slightly to control flight. From 1900 to 1902, they built gliders in Dayton and tested them in Kitty Hawk, where there were strong and steady winds. They also made small versions of the wings and built a wind tunnel for modern airplanes to test how well different wing shapes would lift an airplane. So they did some test runs and they made sure that they, of course, built things and tested them out. Flying. So this is a subtitle. So you have another subtitle here, learning how to fly. And then before planes, and all of this has to do with the Wright brothers. In 1903, they built a powered airplane that had propellers and a small engine. The Wright Flyer airplane first flew successfully on December 17th, 1903, near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. This was the first time people ever flew a powered airplane they could control. Before that, people flew in balloons or gliders, or for a very short time in planes they could not control. The two brothers continued to make changes to their design and had a very good plane by 1905. The Wright brothers kept their discovery largely secret for a couple of years until they showed it to the world in 1908. They had filed a patent on the airplane. March 23rd, 1903. So a patent is something that keeps it safe so other people can't copy what you're doing. So they filed for their patent in 1903, but they didn't show it off until 5 years later in 1908. After that, they started a company to build airplanes and had a patent war with Glenn Curtiss over who could make money from the invention of the airplane. During the patent war, Wilbur died. Orville continued working to keep his reputation as the first man to fly. Later, he sold the airplane company and became an elder statesman of aviation. He died in 1948. So here's another photograph. This is a picture of the first flight with Orville Wright at the controls and Wilbur Wright running beside it. Here are some images for kids. Right here, the Wright brothers' home at 7 Hawthorne Street, Dayton, about 1900. So that means the picture was taken in about 1900. So it would be 120 years ago. Wilbur and Orville built the covered wraparound porch in the 1890s. That's nice. This little part right here, they actually built that. The Wright brothers' bicycle at the National Air and Space Museum. So here was a bicycle that they made and or repaired. Wright 1899 kite, the front and side view with control sticks. Wing warping is shown in lower view. The Wright brothers drawing in the Library of Congress. So this is a diagram right here. Front and side views. I wish I could read this right here, but I can't. Chanute's hang glider of 1896, the pilot may be Augustus Herring. So there is another glider. The 1900 glider, no photo was taken with the pilot aboard, so this is just the glider moving by itself. Orville with the 1901 glider, its nose pointed skyward, it had no tail. So this is what it looked like. So its nose pointing forward. This was the nose of the glider up here, right there. And then it did not have a tail. There was nothing back there. Wilbur, just after landing the 1901 glider, the glider skid marks are visible behind it, and marks from a previous landing are seen in the front. So here are the skid marks back here where he was landing, and this was taken at Kill Devil Hills in North Carolina. This is a replica, meaning this is not the actual one. This is a copy of it, or what they suspected it was, of Wright Brothers wind tunnel at the Virginia Air and Space Center. Wilbur Wright pilots the 1902 glider over Kill Devil Hills on October 10th, 1902. The single rear rudder is steerable. It replaced the original fixed double rudder. So this right here is the rudder, and he could use it. It could move from left to right to help steer him. Wilbur makes a turn using wing warping and the movable rudder. So this is an image of him doing that. There's the rudder. This is the back of it. So he is making a turn right now. The first flight of the Wright Flyer 1, December 17th, 1903. Orville was piloting. Wilbur was running at the wingtip. Right there. A Wright engine, serial number 17, circa 1910, on display at the New England Air Museum. So this is a 4-cylinder, water-cooled vertical engine. Cool. This is one of the engines. And these would be entries from Orville's notebook. So Orville's notebook entry of December 17th, 1903, and Wilbur's logbook showing a diagram and data for his first circle flight on September 20th, 1904. So he was taking his notes. That's what he was doing. He was holding experiments and, testing out his flights and then taking down notes. And he would draw diagrams to help him remember exactly what happened. The modified 1905 Flyer at the Kill Devil Hills in 1908, ready for practice flights. Note there is no catapult derrick. All takeoffs were used with the monorail alone. That's cool. Soaring flight, Kitty Hawk, October 1911. Arrows indicate 50-mile winds, showing how machine was sustained in the stationary position. So here's the wind coming at it. Orville demonstrating the Flyer to the United States Army, Fort Myer, Virginia, September 1908. The photo was taken by C.H. Claudy. And then Hardeberg on the left, the Wright's European business agent, and Wilbur at the flying field near Le Mans. And this is the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office archive. So this is what they sent in. Let it be known that we, Orville and Wilbur Wright, citizens of the United States, residing in the city of Dayton, county of Montgomery, and state of Ohio, have invented certain new and useful improvements in flying machines, of which the following is a specification. Our invention relates to that class of flying machines in which the weight is sustained by the reactions resulting when one or more airplanes are moved through the air edgewise at the small angle of incidence, either by the application of mechanical power or by the utilization of the force of gravity. Cool. The Wright brothers at the Belmont Park Aviation meet in 1910. Elwood Doherty, a Curtiss pilot, coaxes the structurally modified Langley Aerodrome into the air above the surface of the Kirka Lake near Hammondsport, New York. September 17th, 1914. And this is the original 1903 Wright Flyer in the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. How cool is that? I'd love to go see that. And then the back of the United States Airman Certificate with a picture of the Wright brothers right there. Orville Wright in 1928. Ohio, the 50-state quarter features the 1905 Wright Flyer 3, built and flown in Ohio in a famous photo from Huffman Prairie. And then North Carolina, our quarter, features the famous first flight photo of the 1903 Wright Flyer 1 at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. You can also get that on the back of your car. So if you look at your parents' license plate, it might say first in flight and have a little bit of an image of a plane. All right, so there's your first recorded story for you.